What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel, and in today's review we're going to be taking a look at the brand new New Age movie series Soundwave. Now if you are in the market for picking this figure up, he is available and in stock right now over at Heat Toy, and for that I will leave a link down in the description box below where you can purchase this figure and add him to your collection. Taking a quick look at the packaging, you can see here that this is New Age's first ever larger scale movie figure, and I really do hope that they continue this line. We've got an awesome image of the figure itself with "He's watching you." Turning to the side of the packaging, the New Age movie series. The back of the packaging has some amazing product shots of this figure, including some of the different accessories that he comes with, as well as an awesome diorama of when he's about to execute Bumblebee in the Dark of the Moon movie. And then on the other side we have the New Age movie series. So let's open this figure up and see what awaits us inside. And so here we have New Age Soundwave opened up and out of the packaging, and as he comes packaged in his vehicle mode. Now before we take a detailed look at the figure itself, we're first of all going to cover some of the accessories that he does include. Here we have Soundwave's blaster that we see him use throughout the Dark of the Moon movie, or more predominantly in the execution scene where the Decepticons have captured some of the Autobots and he is about to execute Bumblebee. You can see that I think New Age have done an amazing job in capturing the faithfulness to the on-screen movie CGI model. This looks almost dead on to what we see in the movie, and I think that the paint applications are amazing. You can see we've got that really nice gunmetal silver for the majority of the blaster, with the inside nozzles actually picked out in a really awesome gold copper, and overall I just think that the details on this is just exquisite. And believe me, when Soundwave is wielding this in robot mode, he definitely looks as if though he is a force not to be reckoned with. The other accessories that this figure comes with are of course the movie versions of Soundwave's minions. So we'll start off with the Dark of the Moon minion. Here we've got Laserbeak, and once again, much like with the blaster, I think New Age have done a fantastic job in capturing Laserbeak's appearance. I think that this is probably the best representation we've ever gotten for Laserbeak in figure form. I think New Age have just nailed the details on this, and the paint apps look absolutely fantastic. You can see the red sections for the turbines. I think that where the feathers would be, or the panels of the wings, they all look incredible, and the spinal detailing looks really nice. He definitely looks like a giant turkey or a big bird, which was of course the look that we saw in the movie. I think his head sculpt is also really nice and menacing with the red piercing eyes. And here you've got some really nice sculpted in feet. The articulation on this figure is also a pleasant surprise. He has a ball joint here at the base of the neck, allowing for a great range of motion. He also has got a ball joint here for the main head, which is amazing. A ball joint here for the tail, as well as a hinge joint here for where the spike section would be. The wings are on hinge joints up and down, and you can also hinge the wings forwards and backwards to your so desire. They don't rotate up, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice to have actually rotated these up, but seeing as how detailed and intricate this piece is, I can completely excuse that. We also get a ball joint here for the legs, and then finally a ball joint here for the feet. So overall for articulation, I think for a piece this small, it's really nicely done. And even under there you can see we've got Laserbeak's miniguns that we see him use throughout the film. So definitely an incredibly sculpted and really nicely painted figure. And something else which they've included within this set, and seeing as this character is actually from a separate movie to where Soundwave appeared in his Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG alt form, they actually included Ravage, which I was really surprised to see. And once again, similarly to Laserbeak, I think that this is the best rendition of a movie Ravage we have ever gotten. This looks amazing. You can see the sculpted in detailing is just dead on to the on-screen CGI model, and the paint applications as well are just amazing. As Ravage is a slightly larger character than Laserbeak, the articulation on this is truly mesmerizing. We have a hinge joint here for where the actual head would be. The jaw can indeed open. It is rather difficult to actually open it due to its size, but you can see you can indeed open Ravage's jaw, and you've got an amazing Cyclops eye painted there, which looks fantastic. We have a ball joint here for the neck, so utilizing the hinge joint as well as the ball joint there for the neck, you're able to get him into some really nice poses. We have a ball joint here and a hinge joint allowing you to get some diaphragm movement, as well as another ball joint here at the end, so really fantastic range of motion there for the torso. The front legs are on ball joints in and out. We also get hinge joints here for the legs, ball joints here for the feet, and the same can be said for the back legs as well. Hinge joints, ball joints, and then a ball joint there at the top. And the tail also, similarly to Laserbeak, is on a ball joint, a hinge joint, another hinge joint, and the ends of the tail can also hinge forwards and backwards as well. So overall, Soundwave's minions are as detailed as we've ever seen them, and I think that New Age have done a fantastic job. You can just check out the turret as well that is on Ravage's back, and this too is also on a ball joint. Just amazing work. And as I stated, Ravage is from a completely different movie, and we never see this version of Soundwave actually with Ravage. Of course, when Ravage is deployed, Soundwave is a satellite, so it is great to see that they did include both of the movie versions, Soundwaves and Minions. Now, enough with accessories, let's take a look at the actual figure himself. You can see here that Newage have captured Soundwave's Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG alt form incredibly well. This looks fantastic. You can see the chrome hubcaps with the brake discs in there as well. The silver paint that this has been painted in is really premium. I've transformed this figure multiple times and have found to have no paint scratches on this whatsoever, so the paint is definitely really durable and definitely very robust, and I think that his Mercedes-Benz alt form looks fantastic. You can see all of the sculpted in detailing. You've got the vents there at the rear section of the vehicle. The tail lights have been painted. I love the smoky, darker plastic that they've used for the front windscreen as well as the windows. And of course, the back window there. We've got the side view mirrors. All of the vents have been painted in a darker paint. And even on the front, they've actually got the Mercedes symbol. And seeing as this is a third-party product, I'm not entirely sure how they've gotten away with that. But nonetheless, I just think that it adds to the overall accuracy and authenticity. I think that this looks fantastic. Turning under to the underside, you can see Soundwave does compact really nicely. There's not really anything that's super evident that this does transform, other than the fact that you may be able to tell that these are the hands. But other than that, I think this is a really very heavy and compact vehicle mode, and it does roll really nicely as well. I do believe that the wheels are indeed rubber. If they're not rubber, then they're a very pliable plastic, but just overall very premium looking figure. And of course, as this is a Mercedes-Benz, you can of course open the doors, and that is super cool as well. And that's not only just for transformation, that is for vehicle mode as well. Unfortunately, there's no interior detailing, but seeing as how complex and involved this figure is, I can completely understand that. Now, getting down straight into the transformation, as it is very complex, of course, to get an amazing looking vehicle mode, and believe me, an equally amazing looking robot mode, the transformation definitely did have to be rather involved. But I've got to say that after a couple of goes, the transformation is definitely something you'll get the hang of. So to begin with, you're going to want to apply some slight pressure to this section, just so that you can pop the doors open. So repeat the same process here for this side, just pop the door open, come to this section here, and just take your finger and pull this section forwards, and then repeat the same process here, just pop that all open. We then want to come to this section and just detach these sections. This almost separates the legs and the whole upper torso. So once that's done, this is one half of the transformation, and then this is the second half. So we'll begin with the more complex stage of the transformation, that being the legs. You just want to split those here, and then come to this section and just begin untabbing all of the panels, just loosening everything up, just popping that section off, and then come to this piece here and pop this piece off as well. Everything does tab in really nice and securely on this figure, so just untab this, and now we'll flip under to the underside, come to this piece, fold these sections out on both sides. That will then allow us to rotate this section just out of the way so that we can avoid bumping this into anything later on. So just rotate that out of the way. Take this piece here, and you're going to want to fold this out. So just showcasing that, fold all of this out, and then that will then allow you to fold this all the way out and upwards. It does look very convoluted and very complex at first, but believe me, after a couple of times, you'll be sure to get the hang of it. We then want to lower this whole section. Just turn to this side. You're then going to want to fold out the knee pad. Take this whole section and rotate this around so that this chrome section is now facing where the back of the screw is. And as you turn around, if I just set these pieces off to the side, you can see that there are no screws facing this front section. So this is going to be the front of the figure. Now what we'll do is just separate all of this. So just get all of that nice and untabbed. Bring this all the way down. So rotate this out of the way and ensure that that's all the way down. With this piece here, you're going to want to fold out the heel spur. Take this, and you will actually want to lift this up. So you're going to want to raise it, and then it will tab into this slot. So come over and just snap that into place. Then we'll take this piece, and you're going to want to collapse this in. And with that now done, you'll rotate all of this around, and you'll then come to the back. And here, you'll take this, and you'll just angle that like so. So just to show you how that quickly looks, you can see we're then going to want to compress this inwards, and you can see a tab in there that this will slot into. So just align that up and slot that into place just like so. We can then take the foot and just angle it all in, and then with this piece you're going to want to rotate this around and just set that there for now. Fully extend the knee, take this here and just collapse this in like that. And that is one leg of Soundwave fully transformed. So definitely not as hard as it was for me the first time round. And as I stated, as I've transformed this figure more and more, the transformation of the leg has definitely got a lot more simpler. Repeat the exact same process here for the opposite side now. So as you saw, we've already lifted this piece up. We can then come to this section here and fold this section out. And now it's just a matter of pulling all of this away just to allow for some clearance. So just fold all of that out. And now we can just take this and move this section out of the way. You can see, just want to detach that, move that out of the way. Now we can extend all of this outwards and then hinge all of this down. We're then, of course, going to want to rotate this around so that once again the chrome piece is now facing the back. And then just turning to this side, hinge that all the way out. So all of that is completely straight. Then we're going to want to fold up the knee pad, come to this section once again, bring this piece inwards, come to this section, untab this from here, just untab that, rotate this around, take this piece and just pull that down, and then much like we did earlier on, compress the leg and then tab this slot into that tab. So just snap all of that in nice and securely. Take the foot here, raise this piece upwards and tab it into the slot. Fold the front spike inwards now for a more movie accurate look, and then just collapse this section down so that we can create almost the toe look for Soundwave, and then come to the heel spur once again and just ensure that it's flush. And now everything on the legs is more or less fully transformed. Of course, we can neaten this up later on once we've transformed the whole upper torso, but that is the leg transformation for Newage Soundwave fully completed. Coming now straight to the upper section, this is actually the more simpler step, so this should be rather straightforward. You just want to untab these sections here on both sides and just kind of hinge them back ever so slightly so you can see they're not completely flush with the bonnet. We can then bring the hands out, just rotate these out. And then with this, you can pull this section forwards and rotate this around. Now, this really does allow us to get deep into the transformation. So just pull all of this down. Take where this front headlight section is and rotate this back. And as we do that, we can indeed raise the wheel up. So just raise all that up. And then you can see, fold this section out. Turn this around and collapse that down. Repeat the same process here for this side. So just bring this all out of the way so that we have clearance to rotate all of this up. And repeat the same process here for this side. And now just fold out the arm. Fold all of this out. Collapse this section down. Just orientate it in the proper configuration. Now what we can do is just hinge these out, and you're going to want to take these wheels now and just hinge those to the back. So just lift this out and just hinge the wheels to the back, and that will allow us to fold this down. And then with this, just fold this piece out of the way. You're going to want to hinge this forward 2 clicks and bring this down. So repeat the same process here, lift this out of the way and hinge this section forwards here 2 clicks. We're then going to want to fold out this small section in here just for some movie accuracy detailing. Just compress that there, and you can compress this piece over the top. Of course, repeat the same process here for this side. So just fold all of this out, snap that into place. And now with the doors here, you're going to want to rotate these upwards and fold this section in so that we are left with a look like this. Fold this section upwards and collapse the doors in so that we're left with something that looks along the lines of this. What we can now do is lift the arms up as we're going to compress all of the torso. Now this tab here that just protrudes ever so slightly from this joint is going to tab into this slot. So you just want to compress all of this so that we can get all of that aligned. And then once that's done, hook that over the top and it will tab into place. And then coming to these wheels, you just want to lift these up and rotate these inwards, and lift these up and rotate these sections in, and then just fold the doors up over the top. And now coming to this section, we're almost completed. You can see this tab here that will peg into this slot in there. So just bring this down and tab that into place. And then repeat the exact same process here for this side. Now we're going to want to take the thumb, pull this around, and just articulate the fingers in accordingly. So repeat the same process here for this side. Rotate that around, fold out the thumb, rotate all this around, make sure everything is compressed, lift up the head, and there we have the Newage Soundwave fully transformed up into his awesome looking robot mode. And so here we have the Newage Soundwave fully transformed up into his robot mode, and my first impression upon transforming this the first time around from vehicle mode to robot mode was just wow. I cannot believe how well engineered this piece actually is. Newage have done a terrific job in capturing Soundwave's alt form as well as his robot mode. Dare I say this is the most accurate representation we have ever gotten for a movie Soundwave from any company. I really truly think that Newage here have done a tremendous job. This looks so complicated and so faithful to the on-screen CGI model. Just giving you a quick 360-degree spin, you can see that this figure cleans up incredibly well. There's no useless kibble on it whatsoever. If we turn to the back of the figure, you can see that these are indeed accurate to the movie, and they've even put some details that you wouldn't even see in vehicle mode. So these are truly just for the sake of the back of the robot mode. You can see we've got this whole chrome section here at the back, these chrome sections here on the back of the legs, as well as all of this really nice paint detailing. This is just a fantastic figure. Third-party companies are doing an amazing job lately with movie figures, and Newage, I'm so glad, have hopped on that bandwagon and are now giving us their own interpretation of movie figures, as quite honestly, this will definitely be in my top 10 list of third-party figures for this year. It's that well done. So to begin with, we'll take a look at details. You can see that we've got Soundwave's incredibly menacing head sculpt that of course we see more of in the Dark of the Moon film. You can see the face sculpt on that is just fantastic. I think that Soundwave's head sculpt just looks absolutely terrific, incredibly menacing, just like we saw in the movie. The entire sculpt is so crisp on this. You can see you've got the mandibles there, very menacing looking teeth. The eyes have been painted and sculpted so nicely, as well as all of the panel detailing. I love the paint applications on the head as well. The mixture of silver as well as darker grey as well as the copper really does set some of the details of this figure apart from one another, and they could have just painted the head completely silver, which in my opinion still would have looked great, but giving the differentiation to the sculpt, I think that it definitely makes it look a lot better. You can see here for the torso, I think that they've done a great job in capturing the design of Soundwave's torso. These sections here are indeed able to be manipulated to your own desire. However, I think that this configuration is more movie accurate. You've got some of the speakers or some of the woofers on either side, and I really do like these gold sections that prong off to the sides as well. And even in there, you've got some amazing detailing. Check out all of that sculpt work in there. All of the wiring detailing underneath the neck of Soundwave as well. Areas that you honestly probably wouldn't even notice if I hadn't have pointed them out to you. Terrific detailing. This whole section here is mainly for robot mode where these vents are. So cool. I think that the design of the arms is also terrific. You can see you've got all of the piston detailing in there, and the hydraulics, the gold paint apps. Just a superb job here by Newage. And I love how they've chromed out the speakers on the sides of his arms as well. Really good placement here of chrome. And then you've got the sculpted in fingers. Just an absolute amazing looking figure. The crutch has also been detailed really nicely with some nice red and gold highlights. This figure is just painted incredibly well as well. There's really no area on this figure that has gone unpainted other than some of the joints, but of course that's to be expected as the paint is more than likely going to chip off of them. Just giving you a look at the inner section of the fire. You can see all of that lovely sculpt work. And the outer section is even better with some wiring detailing as well as some gold piston detailing. You can even see some small details there, just absolutely terrific. I'm blown away with this figure. I love how they've managed to capture Soundwave's very complex looking leg design. However, that is accurate. I did go back and check the CGI model and they've done an amazing job. Soundwave's leg design in the movie was a lot more complex than some of us may believe, and I think that Newage once again have done such a terrific job in capturing that. Just giving you a look at how it looks from behind. Just truly an amazing looking piece to look at. But once again, not only is the detail stellar on this figure, but the articulation, oh, it's just wow. The head is on a ball joint, so it is able to look left to right as well as up and down ever so slightly. It can also tilt side to side, so you get a great degree of motion just from the ball joint alone. But he's got all of these different hinge joints in here, which just allows for so much range of motion. You can see you're quite honestly able to get this figure pulling off any pose with his head. Is amazing. The arms here are on hinge joints, so they can hinge all the way around, which is great. They can hinge out to the sides. We get a rotation here for the bicep, as well as a 90-degree bend there at the elbow. The hands are on ball joints, so they can rotate the full 360. The thumb is also on a ball joint, but that's due to transformation. But he does also have a hinge joint there, as well as a second hinge joint here. So 2 hinge joints there for the thumb, as well as 2 hinge joints here for the fingers as well. And all of the fingers are fully articulated. We do get a full 360-degree rotation there at the waist. The legs can kick forwards that far, as well as back to about that far. He can also go out and do the splits, and due to this whole section being able to be moved out of the way, you can get a great degree of motion here out the legs. We also do get a swivel joint here, which is great to see. We get a 90-degree bend there at the knee. We also do get ankle rocker joint as well, which is super cool. And this whole section here, whilst it may be articulated due to transformation, you could also use this as well for some of the posing. And all of these pieces here are on hinge joints. So depending on how you pose him, you can move all of this around in order to make the look rather cohesive. So overall, for articulation and for detailing, I think this is one of my favourite representations of Soundwave in a plastic form. Now, very quickly showcasing how Soundwave's blaster looks when incorporated into the figure, you can see that he does have tabs on both sides of the handles, so you can peg them into whatever hand you so desire. However, I do like to peg it into this one. You can see 2 slots here and here that you just want to align those tabs up with, and then just snap that into place nice and securely, wrap the fingers around it, and then there you have Soundwave wielding his blaster. And for me, that is just such a fantastic look for this figure. You can get him into so many awesome poses with this blaster. I'll be sure to post some images at the end of this review, but just look at that. That looks incredible. I'm so impressed with this. You can also bring this arm out as well, and then bring out the Laserbeak, and have Laserbeak balanced and perched on his arm. Just trying to do it rather sparingly, but just have Laserbeak there on the arm. Just an absolute terrific figure. And here for a Transformers Dark of the Moon movie Soundwave size comparison, and just comparison in general. Here we have the Newage Soundwave compared next to the Studio Series version, as well as what was my definitive representation of Soundwave, that being the Human Alliance version. However, now I can safely say that the Newage version has dethroned this. You can just tell, just by setting off the Studio Series 1, how much more accurate the Newage version was able to get. I mean, look at the legs compared to the legs on this one. This one did actually have quite a cool design for the whole upper body, but I just think Newage have managed to capture it so much more nicely. You can see this one was very top heavy and was very awkward in terms of its proportions. You had the doors and everything hanging off the back. This cleans up incredibly well. I'm just so impressed. I cannot illustrate that enough in this review, how impressed I am with this. You all know that Dark of the Moon is one of my favourite movies of all time and is my favourite Transformers movie. So to get definitive representations of the characters from that film just every time blows me away, and I think Newage have really outdone themselves here. There is no way that any other company can surpass this for me, unless perhaps FreeZero approaches Soundwave. I think that this is the best we're going to get ever for movie DOTM Soundwave. And here for a movie masterpiece comparison, here we've got Newage Soundwave compared next to MPM Barricade, and this is definitely the scale that we saw in the movie, especially during that execution scene, where I really think we saw DOTM Soundwave at his best, just pure ruthlessness, and I think that these two scale really nicely with one another, so I have no problems whatsoever in displaying Newage Soundwave as my masterpiece representation. And just comparing masterpiece movie Bumblebee compared next to Newage Soundwave, you can see that once again I think that the scale here works really nicely between these MPM figures and the Newage figures. I just really hope that Newage do indeed continue their movie series, as I think that this figure has just knocked so many other figures out of the park. This really is a fantastic release, and you can see that the Newage Soundwave is indeed ever so slightly taller and definitely a lot more broader than what we get here with the MPM Bumblebee. So that was my review for the brand new Newage movie series, Soundwave. If you haven't guessed already from this review, I am completely blown away by their newest release. There is no exaggeration when I say that this is by far the best Soundwave figure we have ever gotten. This looks amazing in its vehicle mode. The transformation, whilst it may be fairly complex upon the first time round, as you begin to practice and work out where everything goes, it becomes a lot more easier and actually quite enjoyable to do. And you can just see here and throughout the review, the robot mode is phenomenal. I honestly can say that this robot mode has presence to it. This looks amazing. It really doesn't look as if though it can transform when you take a look at it in the robot mode, especially when you take a look at all the intricate detailing, the multiple layers in the legs, all of the detailing there for the arms, the chrome speakers, the detail in the torso. I just think that this is a fantastic looking piece. The accessories are a great touch as well. As stated, I was really surprised to see them actually include Ravage into the mix, as of course DOTM Soundwave never had Ravage, as he did unfortunately die. I think that both Laserbeak and Ravage here are the best representations we've ever gotten for their characters, and just overall as a set, I cannot recommend this enough. So with all that being said, if you are in the market to pick this figure up and add him to your collection, he is available and in stock right now over at Heat Toy, and for that I will leave a link down in the description box below. Their shipping is incredibly fast, and this figure is in stock right now. And quite honestly, if you're into your movie masterpiece figures and you want the best looking version of Soundwave, you're going to want to add this figure to the collection. So overall, that just about wraps it up for my review. I highly recommend this figure, and I really do hope that you enjoyed the review. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below, and if you do plan on adding this figure to your collection, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what you think about it. Thanks for watching.